Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Charlene Israel.
And I'm Ephraim Graham. U.S. Marines are in the Philippines helping with aid and recovery of bodies in the wake of super typhoon Haiyan. Even 3 days after the massive storm struck, the devastation is still incomprehensible. At least 2 million people are desperate for help, and thousands of people are feared dead. It's being called one of the most powerful storms ever recorded. Typhoon Haiyan ravaged the Philippines, destroying entire cities, towns, and villages, crippling roads and destroying tens of thousands of homes.
We don't have food, we don't have everything, we don't have houses.
As many as 10,000 people are feared dead. Survivors say some areas look like war zones, with corpses in trees and along sidewalks. CBN disaster relief teams are on the ground in some of the hardest hit areas, distributing relief goods to victims.
We have lots of water, which is really badly needed in those areas. We have canned goods, sardines, we have rice, we have tents and also mats and blankets. We also have stuffed toys because hundreds of thousands of children were traumatized during the typhoon.
A team of 90 U.S. Marines are helping in the search and rescue efforts. CBN also coordinated with the military, giving them relief goods for areas that have been cut off from the rest of the country.
People have not eaten for days, so we're sending now blankets, mats, medicines, food, rice, all the essential things that they need to survive. And we are assembling a group of doctors here and also in Cebu to join our team in the disaster areas.
Haiyan affected millions of people when it barreled through the central Philippines Friday. Winds of up to 170 miles per hour destroyed much of the infrastructure and communication lines, making the relief effort that much harder for this island nation. Typhoon Haiyan slammed into northern Vietnam today. Nearly 600,000 people were evacuated. Haiyan has been downgraded to a tropical storm, but experts say it is still very powerful.
Tiny Israel is always one of the first countries to respond to natural disasters around the world, and the weekend typhoon in the Philippines is no different. A 6-person advance team from Israel's military reserves headed to the Philippines on Sunday. They'll assess the situation and prepare for a larger contingent. Navaliel Glick is from Israel Aid, the organization funding the mission. He says they will partner with Christians to deliver their help.
With the partners on the ground, it's trying to use the network, the incredible network that they have there and that they've prepared already and that they're getting together, maybe all the different churches, all different communities, maybe some of the connections, like making sure that we make it onto a plane first and trying to get there as quickly as possible. And we're coordinating everything with them. They're, a very, very precious partner that we've had for a long time, and we're happy to go back and be able to help as much as we can.
Israel's team will probably include medical and trauma experts.
The nuclear talks between Iran and the world's leading powers ended over the weekend with no agreement. The U.S. and the other nations are considering easing economic sanctions against Iran if the Islamic Republic suspends uranium enrichment. A potential deal fell apart over the weekend when France walked away from the table, calling it, quote, a sucker's deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu criticized the proposal since it leaves Iran's nuclear program intact.
This is the deal that is proposed now. Iran does not roll back its nuclear weapons making capacities at all. But the P5+1 are rolling back sanctions. That's a bad deal. It's a dangerous deal.
Talks between the two sides are scheduled to resume on November 20th.
A new sign of trouble for the rollout of President Obama's health care law. A Gallup poll shows most uninsured Americans have not tried to use the Obamacare websites. Only 18% have visited an exchange website, and only 22% say they plan to get insurance through the exchanges. Gallup also found that about 1 in 4 Americans say they are more likely to pay a fine instead of getting insurance.
Lawmakers are demanding change on how the military deals with cases of sexual assault, wanting to see that change outside the chain of command. As Caitlin Burke reports, they're calling for improvement after the discovery of tens of thousands of victims who never came forward.
The numbers are staggering. Last year alone, there were an estimated 26,000 cases of sexual assault in the military. Of those, only about 3,500 were reported. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is pushing legislation that would dramatically change the way the military handles these cases.
Too often, these brave men and women are in the fight of their life, and it is not on some far-off foreign soil. It's right within their own ranks, with their commanding officer, as victims of horrific acts of sexual violence.
Gillibrand's proposal would take sexual assault cases outside the military chain of command, giving military prosecutors, rather than the commanders of the victims, the power to decide which cases to move forward with.
There is no accountability because the trust that any justice is possible has been irreparably broken under the current system where commanders hold all the cards as to whether a case will move forward or not.
But Pentagon officials are opposed to changes. Military leaders argue they must be the ones in charge of policing their ranks.
Command authority is the most critical mechanism for ensuring discipline, accountability, and unit cohesion.
Still, lawmakers say that hasn't been effective. Tea Party favorites Rand Paul and Ted Cruz are now backing Gillibrand's efforts. She needs 60 votes for the measure to pass the Senate. 46 senators are currently on board. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Organizers are challenging the new California law that gives transgender students a long list of rights. They've collected 620,000 signatures to get the initiative on the ballot next November. Governor Jerry Brown signed the bill into law in September. It made California the first state to give new rights to transgender students in elementary and high school. That includes being able to choose to play on boys' or girls' sports teams and to use boys' or girls' bathrooms and locker rooms. Opponents say the law violates the privacy of other students.
An expert on child sex trafficking in the U.S. says strong momentum now exists to pass anti-trafficking legislation at the state level. Former Congresswoman Linda Smith is now president of Shared Hope International. She just released the organization's third annual report card. This year, 48 states introduced close to 800 anti-trafficking bills. 29 states passed legislation and raised their grades. And Tennessee, Louisiana, and Washington received A's for their advancing legislation. Smith says states are waking up to the need to toughen penalties.
When we started, there were very few states that even made it a felony to buy commercial sex with a child. And now 48 states have it either a felony or a very serious criminal activity.
She also warns that much still needs to be done. A recent survey shows only 18 out of 400 adults who bought sex with a child online went to prison.
Dozens of atheist megachurches are springing up across the U.S. The gatherings have been successful in Great Britain. Now they're drawing like-minded non-believers in cities like San Diego, Nashville, and New York. The so-called churches look like typical Sunday morning church services, complete with music, hand clapping, and inspiration. The missing element, God. On Sunday, hundreds of atheists packed this auditorium in Los Angeles for the launch of the latest godless church. British comedians Sanderson Jones and Pippa Evans founded the movement and plan to kickstart more anti-godless assemblies in the U.S.
You know, when we think about religion in America, we often talk about, oh, belief in God, belief in Jesus. But for a lot of people, it's the community. It's the Sunday school. It's the seeing people afterwards in the foyer or in the courtyard, and it's the having coffee. They want that kind of moral community that is about connecting with others. And is about celebrating life, celebrating morals and ethics in a non-supernatural context.
Similar gatherings have been started in Great Britain, Australia, and Canada.
Coming up, erasing the past. See how one chaplain is lending a helping hand to give people a fresh start.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
The service and sacrifices of the U.S. Armed Forces are being honored across the nation today on Veterans Day. The Family Research Council and churches around the country also celebrated Military Freedom Sunday in their honor. The FRC is making a case against the increasing harassment service members are facing when they exercise their religious beliefs. FRC President Tony Perkins says religious rights in the military are being challenged. He blames the Obama administration policy and those who go too far in trying to implement it.
A final toast for 80 heroes this weekend.
Gentlemen, I propose a toast to those we lost on the mission and those who have passed away since. Thank you very much, and may they rest in peace.
The survivors of the men known as the Doolittle Raiders raised their glasses to the fallen comrades in a ceremony at the Air Force Museum in Dayton, Ohio. In World War II, shortly after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the men made a daring bombing raid on Tokyo, Japan, led by Lieutenant General James Doolittle. They flew specially modified B-25 bombers off the deck of an aircraft carrier. 8 crewmen were captured by the Japanese and 3 were executed. The raid did little damage to Tokyo, but it lifted the American morale at a crucial time in the war. At the ceremony, 76 downturned glasses represented those lost in the war and the years since. General Doolittle had passed on a bottle of cognac with the instructions for the last survivor to drink, a final toast to their fellow airmen.
A longtime sheriff's chaplain has a new calling as a part of his ministry, removing tattoos. It's much more than taking off ink. As Mark Martin shows us, it symbolizes a new path filled with promise for his clients.
Okay, we're good. Stop. Okay, break.
It's painful to get a tattoo removed, but for this young woman, it's worth it to no longer be labeled hated. She and her sheriff's department counselor watch as the tattoo is erased.
Wow.
This is just one example of the transformations happening in this unassuming Houston clinic. Ink and negative self-perceptions vanish one session at a time. Sheriff's Chaplain Wayne Haiyan is a newly trained tattoo removal specialist.
It's almost like you're able to erase a chapter of their life and turn the pages back in that book and give them the opportunity to take that different road.
Many who come to the clinic are ex-offenders. Former prostitute Tanisha Wright believes her disappearing tattoos represent a new life drug-free with a plan to become a social worker.
I can't erase all the years that I've done, and I've done a lot of damage in my life. But I can start by making a new statement about how life should be.
Her former life involved time at the county jail.
If you had a choice today not to have gone and tatted up your body, who wouldn't have done it?
Chaplain Haiyan meets a lot of his tattooed clients here.
It's almost 100%.
Almost.
Until they get rid of the tattoo, they're not going to be able to get a good paying job.
The removal of tattoos is part of a re-entry program for offenders that also includes drug and job counseling.
We've given you the tools and we will help you as you leave here.
He knows where we've been because he's worked out there, but he also knows where we could be if we chose to change our life.
Haiyan removes tattoos at a big discount to ex-offenders in exchange for community service.
I'll be honest with you, we still haven't broken even yet.
But for this sheriff's chaplain, it's not about the money.
Lord, thank you for everything you do for us. I guess the easiest way to describe it is that everything in our life works great. We have wonderful kids. We both have jobs. And for us not to try to help somebody else, that's just wrong.
A helping hand to a fresh start. Mark Martin, CBN News.
Up next, nearly 70% of African Americans do not know how to swim. Meet the gold medalist who's out to change that. Olympic swimmer Cullen Jones talks about his life-saving campaign right after this.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Nearly 10 people drown every day in the United States, and drowning is also one of the leading causes of accidental death among children.
When Cullen Jones was just 5 years old, he almost became one of those statistics. Today, he is an Olympic swimmer. He's also on a mission to save lives. At 6'5", Cullen Jones's speed and skill in the swimming pool led to 2 gold and 2 silver Olympic medals. He's also only the second African American in history to take gold in swimming.
I had a lot of success in London, and my life has changed a lot. A lot more red carpets, airline food, and hotels. It's been fun, though. I enjoy it.
Swimming helped make Jones a celebrity and a bit of a fashion icon.
My dad was big into, when you walk out the house, you're representing the Jones family, and it's always stuck with me. I'm very into fashion, and at first I thought I really wanted to write for GQ, and I still think that that's something that's on my plate I'd love to do. But I've kind of evolved that into wanting to start my own line.
Still, more important than his fashion and fame, swimming has given Jones a platform to preach a life-saving message.
We need to change the perception of swimming from just being a sport, which is a great sport and a great activity, but it's also a life skill. You know, this is something that people need to learn how to do. It's just like riding a bike. Once you learn, you never forget.
Cullen nearly drowned at age 5 while visiting a Pennsylvania water park with his parents. His float flipped over in the deep end of the pool. It sent him plunging underwater for about 30 seconds. A child can drown in as little as 20.
They say at 5 you start remembering things. I vividly remember what it feels like. And I've gone to that place a couple of times in practice where I've had to hold my breath for really, really long, and knowing what it feels like to be almost helpless and being underwater and looking up and saying, well, that's maybe too far for me to get to air. And I mean, I was apprehensive about getting back in the water. It took my mom kind of pushing me, making sure I was at practices and learning how to swim and talking to different coaches. I went through 3 different teachers before I actually started to feel comfortable enough after my incident at Dorney Park to be comfortable in the water enough to put my face in the water.
The Olympian now feels more at home in the water than out. When he's not training, he travels with the USA Swimming Foundation. Their Make a Splash tour helps children get comfortable in the water and beat the alarming statistics that Cullen rattles off to me without even thinking.
60% of Latin Americans don't know how to swim. Under the age of 14, it's the second leading cause of accidental deaths with children. Nearly 70% of African Americans don't know how to swim.
That 70% puts African Americans at the greatest risk of drowning. A University of Memphis study looked at the reasons why many avoid the water. They include fear, having parents who don't know how to swim, and even physical appearance.
When it comes to African American ladies and their hair, I get it. My mom, she spends good money on her hair. If it gets wet, it's gone. And you know, they want me to speak on it because it is an issue. And when I make a waterproof cap, besides being a multimillionaire, I'll let everyone know about it.
Until then, Jones shares his story of survival, along with stories of pain and loss, like that of one Toledo mom.
Wanda Butts is like another mom to me. When I hear her story, I tear up instantly because that was pretty much almost what my mom had to go through.
It's horrible, Ephraim. It was horrible. It was the worst phone call that I'd ever received in my whole life.
Wanda's 16-year-old son, Josh, drowned during a rafting trip with friends on a Michigan lake.
Josh was in the water on the raft, and he got in trouble. Somehow the raft floated out to where it got deeper and deeper, and Josh couldn't swim. My dad saw one of his relatives drown when he was a youngster. It gave him a tremendous fear of drowning. He instilled that in me, and so then I gave it to my son.
A sign now stands at that lake, both as a warning and a reminder of Josh's drowning.
I didn't know that Josh should know how to swim, but I know now that swimming is a life skill.
A year after the tragedy, Wanda started a program to teach children to swim. It's called the Josh Project. Thousands of kids now swim thanks to the program. And one of the Josh Project's biggest supporters, Cullen Jones.
No matter what, if you're blessed, you have to give back. So for me, my way of giving back, when I won in 2008 and I got a gold medal, a friend of mine said, "Do you know what you can do for the sport of swimming?" And I made that bigger. How you can give back? And working with the Make a Splash initiative was my way of giving back and getting my pastor off my back.
Though he jokes about his pastor, Cullen prays all of his work, honors the faith that has sustained him since he was a child, and that pastor introduced him to Christianity.
A month later, I found out my mom had cancer. And I think it helped me so much being at church every Sunday and hearing from my pastor coming to me.
That comfort gave young Cullen courage to share his faith with his hero, his father.
My mom said I blew my dad out of the water. I was 12 years old, and I said, I'm not worried about seeing mom after she passes away. This was when she still had cancer. I'm not worried about her. I'll see her. But Dad, I'm worried about your soul because you don't go to church and you're so disconnected from church. That next Sunday, he never missed a day of church. He went every single Sunday. I was 12 years old.
Mom beat cancer twice. Dad died of lung cancer when Cullen was just 16. Ronald Jones wore the number 41 when he played college basketball. Cullen wears that number and a cross on his back, no longer worried about his father's soul.
He was at every single practice. He pushed me just because he was an athlete himself.
What a great story, Ephraim.
Thank you. Great guy, and he's actually right now training for Rio. He plans to swim one more round in the Olympics and then retire.
The silver, is that right?
And gold.
And gold.
And gold.
Go, Cullen.
All right.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Great music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might.
I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing. If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music, it's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might.
I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Many young people are disinterested in politics. That's just one reason an 18-year-old from New Jersey is really standing out.
He has only been eligible to vote for 2 months, but he was recently elected to his township's Board of Education. Chase Harrison is the youngest elected official in the state and did a lot of his campaigning through social media.
I thought I really could make a difference in the lives of students in Millburn who are incredibly stressed, really overburdened, and needed a voice on the Board of Education to advocate for them.
He was very engaged from a very young age.
Our students are really the pride of this community, and it's time that we looked to them to solve a lot of the problems that they are having themselves, and they can do it. We should never underestimate them.
Excellent. Well, the high school senior doesn't have plans of slowing down. He's fluent in Spanish, and he also wants to eventually go to Latin America as an international relations representative. Sounds like a young man with a plan.
Yeah, something tells me he'll be in Washington,
I
too.
think so, yes,
You
definitely.
got it.
That's the road.
That's it for CBN News Today.
Have a great evening. God bless you.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. all the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.